What's up, guys? Shawnee Does Music here. Today we doing a little documentary project. You see, we're gonna call it Sound Shifts. It's about hip hop. From the birth into what's going on right now. Because of time constraints, there's not gonna be a lot of heavy editing or whatnot. But we will be talking about like a lot of good artists and creatives. Um, so yeah, this is also my little project for Black History Month. I thought I'd do, to represent. Um, so yeah, here we go. So we're gonna start off by talking about the birth. So basically, it starts with DJ Kool Herc. He he was just like hosting. He's a DJ, so he's like hosting this big block party, and the rest is pretty much history. But outside of New York City, it's not gonna be too much New York City. But basically, there was so many like in Jersey, you had Apache, and then you had like Run DMC, which is New York City. Slick Rick, he's actually from the UK, by the way. So yeah, and before like the actual art of like rapping or whatever, it was just DJs, that type of stuff. And yeah, it just held communities together with these like block parties and stuff. So yeah, like and subscribe, by the way. Let me know your thoughts so far. Do we just this is part one? Well, no, fuck. Yeah, you're gonna have to ride this one out with me. But yeah, subscribe, post notifications, comment as well. Please, bro, comment as much as you want. Just keep it respectful. Opinions, etc., etc. So now we're going to the conscience age. So we have artists like Queen Latifah, Jungle Brothers, Tribe Called Quest, and they were telling stories about politics and community, black love, power, or whatever. Oh yeah, songs is gonna be right here. So yeah, and it was pretty abstract, especially one more group I throw in there, which is gonna be on the list, De La Soul, which showed that you didn't really need to be tough, which is amazing. But okay, now 90s gangsta rap. So art wise, amazing songs, great songs, thing right here. And yeah, but it was definitely gritty, uncanny, a lot of more dark, violent stories. I wish I would have included Immortal Technique, but yeah, that did that one song happen? But yeah, if you know Immortal Technique, once again covered that. But we had Tupac, we had Dre, we had NWA as well. I'm not gonna leave them out. The whole F the Police and Straight Outta Compton. That's what really started it off. Um, but yeah, mainly though, this became a catalyst for the future because it was profitable. These tough gangster personas. The industry, the executives, they're making way too much money off of people like Tupac and Biggie, and when they talked about this type of stuff, and other artists who, whether they were actually telling the truth or they were lying about what they really did in their life, this was what was profitable, unfortunately, in these eras. And this was around the time where, what I'm saying, things were starting to collapse community wise, which I'll get back to that. We're going, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, next, 2000s gangster rap, the bling bling era. You ready to know one of my favorite artists that came out of there? Cameron. Hey ma, what's up? But okay, once again, also they were more smaller rapper owned, people like of color owning labels and whatnot. And so that was pretty cool. So kind of like what started like between like Suge Knight and P Diddy, you have like all these other huge gatekeepers. Now you have like other smaller execs coming around, on like other labels like Swisha House, Diplomat Records, um, No Limit, Cash Money, right? I said that right. But yeah, correct me in the comments. So, uh, definitely different cultures, different like subcultures, and the styles as well. This was the bling bling era after all, so it was a lot of baggy clothes, chains, sneakers. You know, Nelly literally made a song about Air Force Ones, which kind of reminds me of like, you know, DMC, you know, the Adidas. But yeah, now the second conscious wave. So in the 80s we had a huge conscious wave with De La Soul and A Tribe Called Quest, but now we have another one with Lupe Fiasco, which I want to call it the Lupe Fiasco wave because it is so underrated. Nobody, well, not people that I know talk much about Lupe Fiasco and what he did for conscious rap. Him, Kanye, you know, early Kendrick, early J. Cole, I'll say as well. It's right here. Don't forget it. Check out the songs. But yeah, you know, Kick Push is definitely one of my favorite Lupe Fiasco songs. Well, the only one I, it was just, I was just reading into his background. And yeah, so enough of the glazing, you know. Kanye as well, you know, heard him say all falls down. And you know what I'm saying? This was a point in time, especially with Lupe Fiasco, you know, they try to hide the truth, which I just put out, you know. They want us dumb. They don't want us to know our culture, etc., you know, just shit like that. But I'm not gonna get too much of the controversial. This is very like surface level. If y'all want more, let's say like conspiratorial or like deeper dives into like the actual business, let me know. I could probably like send you some videos or whatever. But okay, now we're going more into like the internet era. I call this unconventional but dominant. Yeah, the amount of hits, you know, Drake, Lil Wayne. This is where, you know what I'm saying, Cash Money, right? Or no, Young Money. That's what I meant to say, not Cash Money. Young Money, right? Yeah. Starts to really pop off. I corrected myself. So you had Drake, Lil Wayne, and then like others like Rick Ross, French Montana, which, hey man, shout out to the Max B. I need a, if y'all want a video of me, you know, reviewing and talking about the new album that just came out, yo, I'm still happy that Max B got free to be, yeah, especially that ever since he left me. But okay, we gotta get back to this. So, yeah, you know, like especially with French Montana, I still listen to Pop That and Ashton Martin music by Rick Ross. But yeah, it was definitely pure fun in my opinion. You know, not negativity, not positivity, just fun, just out there. You know, party, party, party. Um, Now the mumble era, the SoundCloud era, it was great. Also, I'd say it's a lot of fun too. But like once again, um, because we're talking about the music industry and we're talking about like capitalism and stuff, this is where you really start to see like the copy and paste, you know, and the whole like go- basically the starter kit, you know, the lean, the face tats, you know, or every rapper would have like 50 face tats, you know, out of this era, in my opinion. But you know what I'm saying? Once again, songs right here, you know, I love Lil Skies, XXX and Tentacion, Juice World, um, yeah. Now, meme, oh my gosh, bro. But okay, Shotgun Willie and Shiki TMNS, specifically his one song Senpai. I hope I put it in the list, please. But I used to listen to that on my birthday. But with Shotgun Willie, my favorite song of his has to be Wendy. But this era, in my opinion, was more so about like meme culture and the weirdness and the shock value of it, especially when we talk about like anime as well. I mean, once again, there's also on the list, you'll get it. But it was definitely like a acid trip, like the mumble rap era. But I could give these meme rap artists and the TikTok, early TikTok rappers, and artists credit for actually being like talented and lyrical. Pretty much it's almost done, guys. Originally I wanted to be like 15 minutes with yeah. Oh wait, what did I? No. What the? I went through this too fast. Okay, so rewind. All right, so New Jack Swing, going back to the mid 1990s, late 80s. I am so sorry, guys, but yo, check it. Okay, basically, it was a mix of hip hop and R&B, but like really, you dance to this shit. You know, you had like I'll Be Sure. I've been listening to In Effect Mode. You have Bobby Brown, Kid and Play, Heavy D and the Boys. Nobody's ever taught me this, told me about this genre of music. So I really hope I could like put it out there to y'all. I am gonna come out with a video soon talking about I'll Be Sure versus Bobby Brown music wise. Not necessarily like a beef or anything. I just, saw some people commenting online about it. Like who was better during that era, who overtook who, um, popularity wise. But yeah, this is also, in my opinion, a form of pop music as well. Because of the singing and the dancing, it wasn't too lyrically insane. And then going back to Kid and Play, I mean, House Party movie, like Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody. I love that song so much too. So, okay. Now we're back to the last part, drill rap. So now we're really back in New York. We in the trenches, guys. Where's my camera at? We in the trenches, okay? So, right. Yeah, y'all already know. If y'all from here, y'all already know. Gang tensions, Pop Smoke and whatnot, they just, once again, copied and paste. They, you know what I'm saying? They saw a formula at work, kill somebody, make a song about it, go viral, but then eventually got locked up, which, if private prisons, they make a fuck ton of money. Which, if you want to see more about that, let me know. I'll, like, send you a video or link a video or something like that in the comments. But yeah, this shit is really sad. I mean, but artistically wise, when we talk about Pop Smoke and artists like Chief Keef, because it did originally start in Chicago, the music was good though. I would never deny that. Skill wise, the music was really good. Um, but I just wish like this whole style, like when we talk about like the story and all that stuff, you know, what if we were to make it more about like fun and growth and positivity? Not saying that like I'm against negativity or anything. You can always rap about like sorrow or whatever, but to do that, like take someone else's life and yeah, which once again, I'm not blaming anyone in particular. I'm not saying that it's the rapper's fault. Not at all. Everybody, especially when we talk about being in the trenches, this shit was crafted by not just the execs, but what I'm saying, people who hold those huge positions. This is capitalism, guys. So I would never blame any rapper or anything like that. But definitely, I make some of these videos on YouTube and TikTok to break y'all minds out of it, and try to see beyond like the streets or whatever, and try to build community and teach real life lessons, on some like Darman, Darman shit. But all right, fuck. Un minuto. See, let me pull. Okay, so we're back. With my final conclusion, my final thoughts, I would say throughout these eras, there were so many stories. I didn't even get to touch up on lo-fi music at all, which, if you guys want to hear that story between Jay Dilla and Nujabes, on my anime page, I was going crazy with the, RIP Nujabes and the Samurai Champloo edits or whatnot. If y'all want to actually hear the story about it or whatever, let me know. I'll do a bit of a deep dive on it. Um, and once again, like I said, with drill, I don't condone any senseless violence, anything like that. We should all be helping each other, loving each other, spreading positivity and love, not hate. Um, and I'm not blaming just the sole individual rapper or whatever. People gotta make this money, but we should definitely try to help each other more than just focusing on ourselves individually being selfish, because we could all eat. Shout out Ace Bookie. Um, Let me see. So yeah, let me know what did I miss. It was I was rushing do this a lot, so let me know what I missed in the comments. Please, please, please comment. Remember, just keep it respectful. That's all I ask. Um, and yeah, cause like there's so many great artists I could list. I could go on and on, but I didn't want to like make this whole list. I just wanted to actually put out my thoughts. And yeah, so aside from comments and also like subscribe, share, repost if you can on your story on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. I mean, I don't really care. So yeah, I'll see y'all on Friday with this because it's already late as hell. So yeah, bye.